Here's the thing, even after all that, even after Swan Song, even after Carry On, and even after the Winchesters, something still doesn't sit right with a lot of us fans. Like, yeah, the characters got closure. Sort of. But did we? And let's be real, we spent 15 freaking years with Sam and Dean. That's not just a show. That's life. That's growing up with them. That's coming home from school or work or whatever stress you were going through and finding comfort in their world. That's fighting monsters on screen while we fought our own off-screen. Loneliness. Grief. Depression. Family drama. Identity. Supernatural gave us a place to process all of that. So when the ending doesn't feel like the ending, like your ending, it kind of stings. Not because the show owed us a happy ending, but because it owed us an ending that understood what the story meant to us. To all of us. And listen, I get it. Some fans were totally cool with Carry On. They thought it was poetic. Dean dies doing what he loves. Sam gets to live a life he never thought he'd have. And eventually, they reunite in heaven. Sweet, right? But for others, and I'm one of them, it felt rushed. Like Dean took on Lucifer, Death, Amara, God himself, and he goes out on a rusty nail during a low-stakes hunt? I mean, come on. That's not tragic. That's just weird. Let me break it down. 1. The tone shift. We just watched them beat God. Like, literally rewrite the fabric of reality. And then, the next episode is just oops, vampires again? It's like finishing Avengers, Endgame, and then watching Iron Man trip on a sidewalk and die. 2. Dean's death scene. It's not just that he died, it's that he accepted it. No fight. No last-minute save. No angel intervention. Not even a real struggle. He just lets go. And yes, there's something peaceful about that. But it didn't feel earned. 3. Sam's life montage. The wig. The kid. The slow fade. It was trying to hit emotional beats, but it just didn't land for a lot of people. It felt like the show was telling us to cry, instead of making us feel it. And that's where Swan Song did it better. That episode was earned. It built tension. It paid off emotional arcs. It gave us loss, but it also gave us hope. It wasn't perfect, but it fit. It felt like a natural ending to a 5-season story that had always been about sacrifice and family and choice. But here's something really important: the best endings don't just close the book, they echo. They stay with you. They haunt you a little. Not because they're sad, but because they meant something. That's what Swan Song did. It felt personal. It felt like Eric Kripke sat down and said, okay, what do these characters really deserve? And man, you can tell he loved them. You could feel it in the writing. Every shot. Every word. Even Chuck's narration. It was written like a goodbye letter from the creator to the fans. Meanwhile, season 15's ending, well, that felt like a network checkbox. Like they were just trying to wrap things up. Now, let's talk about the Winchesters for a sec. Because honestly, that show had potential. I didn't hate it. Meg Donnelly as Mary? Awesome. Drake Roger as John? Surprisingly solid. And when they revealed Dean was watching everything from heaven, trying to find a better world for his family, I'll admit, that moment got me. It was emotional. It reminded us that Dean never really stops being Dean. Even in death, he's out there saving people. Hunting things. The family business. That line never gets old, huh? But the thing is, the Winchesters wasn't really a story about him. It was more like a side quest. A little detour. A cool idea, yeah, but not the epilogue we needed. It didn't answer the big questions. Like, what's next for Dean? How does heaven work now? Does he reunite with Castiel? Does Jack run the afterlife like a Starbucks manager? Are there still monsters to fight? Like, give us something. Instead, it just raised more questions. And that's fine, if there's more story coming. But as of now, it just feels like a whisper in the dark. Not the full song we were waiting for. Here's what I think: the true ending of Supernatural is the one you choose. Maybe for you, it's Swan Song. Maybe it's Carry On. Maybe it's Dean driving the Impala into other universes in the Winchesters. Or maybe it's none of those. Maybe the real ending is still out there. Because this show, this story, it never really ends. Not while we're still here, talking about it. Remembering it. Rewatching episodes. Debating angels versus demons. Reblogging gift sets. Crying over Driver Picks the Music. Laughing at Eye of the Tiger. Feeling seen when Sam breaks down. Feeling strong when Dean tells Death to screw off. Feeling like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. That's what Supernatural gave us. A family. And you know what they say, right? Family don't end with blood. We built something here. Together. Not just with the writers or the actors or the networks. But with each other. Every fanfic. Every tweet. Every con. Every cosplay. Every late-night conversation about whether Castiel was canon. It was. Fight me. We kept this thing alive. We gave it heart. And that means we get to decide what the ending is. So if you're still carrying grief over how the show wrapped up, that's valid. If you feel like Dean deserved better, you're not alone. If you think Swan Song is the only real finale, so many people agree. But also if you found peace in Carry On, that's okay too. Because at the end of the day, this show was never really about the destination. It was about the drive. You remember that line, right? From Chuck? No doubt endings are hard. But then again, nothing ever really ends, does it? Exactly. Look, I don't know if we're ever gonna get more Supernatural. Maybe there'll be a reboot. Maybe another spin-off. Maybe the boys will come back for a movie, or a limited series. God, I hope so. Because there's more to say. There's always more to say. Dean Winchester deserves his real ending. Sam Winchester deserves to be remembered as more than just the sad dad in a bad wig. And we, the fans, deserve a finale that makes us feel whole again. But until that day comes, we'll keep sharing stories. We'll keep the light on. And we'll never stop loving these characters like their family. Because they are. So if this show meant something to you, if it helped you survive something, if it brought you closer to someone you love or helped you love yourself a little more, then that is the ending. That's the legacy. You are not alone. We are not alone. And now, before we go, I gotta say this, if you felt this, if this hit something inside you, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Drop a comment and tell me your Supernatural ending. Let's talk about it. Let's remember it together. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. This channel's a place for deep dives, real talk, and people who get it. You're part of this now. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Pass it on. Because someone out there is still grieving this show. Someone still feels alone in that. And maybe this is the thing that helps them feel seen. But before I go, there's one last thing I wanna say. And it might be the most important part of all this. Sometimes, when a show like Supernatural ends, it feels like a chapter of your life is closing, right? And nobody really prepares you for that. They don't tell you that when the credits roll, there's this weird, empty silence. Like, what do I do now? Who am I without this story in my life every week? But let me tell you something I've learned. Stories like this, they don't leave you. They don't just disappear. They live inside you. They shape you. Every time you stood up for someone like Sam did, every time you pushed through fear like Dean, every time you made your own path like Castiel, that wasn't fiction. That was you. You became part of it. You are just as much the legacy of this show as the actors, the writers, or the episodes themselves. And I know it might sound cheesy, but I mean it. We are the Winchesters now. We carry that mission forward, not just the monster hunting, but the courage, the loyalty, the love that refuses to quit, even when the world says stop. So yeah, maybe the endings were messy. Maybe they weren't perfect. But the impact? The love? The lessons? That was real. And real things don't have endings. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to close your eyes unless you're driving, then don't, and think about the moment Supernatural hit you the hardest. Was it a line? A look? A goodbye? A win? A loss? Just hold on to it for a second. Feel it. That right there? That's your story. That's your version. That's your truth. And you get to keep it. Always. Because just like they always said, nothing ever really ends. Especially not this. Alright fam, if this video moved you in any way, you already know what to do. Like. Comment. Subscribe. And more than anything, stay. Stay in this community. Stay in this story. Because you're not just watching, you're part of it. Always have been. Always will be.